Hello everybody, hope you are all doing well. So today on the channel we are going to have a look at, as you've probably seen by the video title, the Valve Steam Deck. It's something a little bit different for me because usually I tend to look at retro systems and retro games, but I just got this in the other day, so I thought I'd take a look at it on the channel, do kind of a bit of an unboxing, show you what you get with it, and kind of show it off, talk about it a little bit, sort of the pros and cons, and how things run on it. So we've got it in this lovely box here. And what I kind of like straight away, and this is sort of the most mundane thing ever, but I do like that the box it comes in, as we open it up, you just have the deck and the power charger in there. So often I find when you order things nowadays, there's so much wasted space in these boxes. So it's kind of nice to get one that just has what you need in there. The other thing I kind of like is on the box itself, you've got in various languages and just kind of places you'd use your Steam Deck. So if you can just see there, you got like in a test chamber, on a Ferris wheel, in a tent. And if we remove the deck itself, the classic one is sort of down there on the toilet. Because, as we've seen in a lot of advertising, a lot of people's discussion, the best place to play your portable consoles is on the bog. So, with that said, let's have a closer look at the system itself. So, here we have it. A little bit of an apology in advance for not doing this at my desk or the other little table, but there's a lot of stuff on my desk at the moment and I can't really clear it out. So we're just going to do it here on this little table on the floor. So the first thing is your power pack, your power adapter. It's a pretty standard power adapter you'd get anywhere now. There it is. It's pretty sleek, pretty easy to carry around. It's got a USB-C on it. It's a power cable. There's not really too much to say about it. But let's get to the main thing, shall we? So, just the kind of basics here. I went for the 512GB model. I kind of felt for the price it was, that it was the best option to go for. Your opinion on that may vary. I kind of feel there's no point in going for the very entry-level one. The medium-level one is an interesting one. But for me, personally, just what you got, the extra space, the extra kind of, the better screen, getting this nice hardback case, it just kind of made more sense for me to get the 512GB one. Of course, one of the draws of this is you can expand the memory should you need to. So, you know, don't feel you have to go for the most expensive one. So, that said, with the one I've got, you get this really, really lovely hardback case for it. And you can just, hopefully, you can kind of hear how solid that is. I don't know how much the microphone picked that up, especially when I was talking before. But you get that, you get like a nice little handle for it. You get a sort of, I don't really know what that strap's for, if I'm being honest. But it has a little groove in there, and you get this little pouch, which I presume is for headphones. And it's got this nice little sort of branding on it. Just put that to the side and open it up. So let's take a look at the system itself. So, like I said, I got this on Friday. It is now Monday when I'm recording it. That's another quick thing. I actually put my order in to reserve this on the 1st of August. And the initial estimate was between October and December. Now, because of when I put the order in, I did not expect to get this until December. I got the email that mine was ready to be shipped a week before last Friday. So I paid for it that Friday, it got shipped out on the Monday, it arrived on the Friday. And I'm in the United Kingdom, just for reference for anyone. So we opened up this case anyway. Just to go back to that shipping thing, I was really, really surprised at how quick they managed to turn it around. There are things that I've had ordered from other places where you keep getting delays because of shipping issues, and it's unfair to compare because Valve is such a bigger company and probably have different, sort of channels and manufacturing and such, but it's just remarkable how quickly they turned it around. So what you get anyway, the inside of the case, you can see it's kind of like cut out nicely. to fit your Steam Deck, and you get a nice microfiber cloth, which you can see I've already used and put back in there. But it's a microfiber cloth. You know, again, it's very, very nice, but there's not much to say about it really. It's a cloth. It keeps your screen clean. That took me a lot more effort to say than it should have done. But here we have the main thing. So my first thought on it when I picked it up was it's quite hefty. And now, not in a bad way. It feels weighty, but it feels sturdy. If I was going to compare it to a controller, I would compare it favourably to how I felt when I first held like an Xbox One controller or the PS5 controller. It's just got that nice kind of weight to it. It feels good to hold. You kind of can grip it really nicely. God, that sounds wrong. It's just got that nice heft to it where you can just sort of like, you know, you feel like you can play games on it for quite some time. So yeah, you kind of hold it like you would the Nintendo Switch, but around the back it's kind of cut in a little bit more. So it just gives you, I guess, a bit more grip. And what you can see straight away is you've got quite a variety of buttons on here. You've got your D-pad. Now, I wasn't too sure about this D-pad at first because of its positioning to the left analog stick. I'm kind of used to that traditional configuration where if it's like the PlayStation, your D-pad will be there, your left analog stick here, or your left analog stick's here and your D-pad's there. But obviously, because you've got so much kind of going on the left-hand side, you probably can't do that. But I found when playing a few games, it's not actually that bad. It's pretty easy to swap between the two. The analog stick feels lovely. It's kind of hard to describe, but your thumb just kind of grips onto it really nicely. You don't really slide along too much. Again, I've not played anything too intensive on it, but the few things I've played, I've had no issues. It's been really, really nice. It feels just quite good. It's got a nice, satisfying click to it. It feels high quality. And hell, the D-pad feels really good quality as well. It's got a really nice spring to it. On the other side, oh, actually, I'll mention these last, actually. On the other side, you've got a right analog stick. It's the same as the left, except on the right. The buttons, really nice and responsive. Now, the other things you've got here are some trackpads. Left and right, that's for mouse movement in games, and also it's got like a little bit of a click down as well. You've got a Steam button and a ... button, which kind of brings up like notifications and such on the Steam Deck. You've got what would class as like start and select on most controllers. On the top, you've got your L1 and your R1 and your L2 and R2. These feel pretty good to use. They've got, again, the nice satisfying bounds. They're pretty good spring in them. You've got volume, you've got your power button, and that's the top where you charge it in, and a headphone port. On the back as well, you've got 4 additional buttons. I've not really played anything that makes use of them yet, but it's just, I guess, in case there's anything that will make use of that kind of thing. And I can think maybe some older games where you've got to really sort of be a bit fiddly with the controls, you might have to do that. I think I've heard of one of the games I do want to play. When I looked at the compatibility, Sid Meier's Pirates, some people recommended using these back buttons for it. So yeah, that's it itself, and you can see the screen is lovely and big. But as for the quality of it, you'll see that in a moment when I actually switch the screen on. But just kind of in the interest of comparison, let's compare it with the Nintendo Switch, just to see a size difference. So as you can see, it's significantly bigger than the Switch. You know, the entire right-hand side of the console. However, the screen is quite similar in size, so it's mostly your controls where you're getting a lot of it. In fact, let's take those off and pop that in. So yeah, the screen is a little bit bigger, but you know, I guess that's kind of what you expect. This is a newer system than the Switch is. They probably had the opportunity to look at the Switch and learn what it did and didn't do well. It's also made to do a different thing. So I don't want to get hung up on comparisons too much. What I do want to do is switch it on. So almost straight away we're put into my library. I've been playing this quite a bit over the weekend. So when you first switch this on, you will have to, do your initial setup like you would any system. And it'll take you through creating or logging into your Steam account, setting up the Wi-Fi, so on and so forth. And then you'll be brought to this lovely home screen where it'll have like exactly what you'd expect on Steam. Your recent games. You can see there, most recent was Final Fantasy XIV, which I played, and it's also stuff that I've downloaded to try out on it. So I've got Alien Breed on there, Alpha Protocol, Nights into Dreams, Warhammer Space Marine. There's quite a few little things that I've downloaded to try out from my Steam library. I've got a mix of things on there. Now, you can use your D-pad or your analog stick to navigate, or you can use the touchscreen itself, which is quite hard when you're doing it through the lens of a phone camera. But yeah, it's essentially your Steam home screen. And I don't know if it translates as well onto this video, but it looks fantastic. And then yeah, you go there, it says what's trending, any sort of special offers that are ongoing at the moment. It's basically a link to the Steam store. So if I press the Steam button, on the left hand side, I get access to my library, the store, friends and chat, media, downloads, ongoing downloads going on, settings. If I go to my library, which will be, I can see it's taking me here to what's installed, but if I go here, it tells me what's in my library that works really well on the Steam Deck. Now these are games that have been tested, have no compatibility issues, and are just generally considered to work great on them. It's an interesting mixture, for my library at least, because I've got like Age of Empires 2 HD Edition, Another World, Beyond the Steel Sky. One thing that really stood out to me about it, that I thought was quite an interesting one, so you've got Doom 2 there, but Doom 1 and Doom 3 weren't on. You've got Euro Truck Simulator, but no American Truck Simulator, even though that's the newer game. We have... So this was quite a fun one. Half-Life 2, great on Steam Deck. Half-Life 2 Episode 2, great on Steam Deck. Half-Life 2, which I think that's Lost Coast, great on Steam Deck. No Half-Life 2 Episode 1, which I thought was quite an interesting one. And I also kind of expected Half-Life 1 or Black Mesa to have been quite good on the Steam Deck. What else we got? We got some anime stuff. Lair of the Clockwork God, which I started playing the other day, which is a fantastic little platformer point-and-click hybrid. Definitely recommended for my initial one. A few of the Lego games there. Left 4 Dead 2, which I was amazed. That's one of my favourite games of all time, Left 4 Dead 2. So being able to play it out on a handheld just made me smile instantly. Limbo, Portal, Persona 4 Golden, which is one of the games I really wanted to play on here. Power Wash Sim, Rogue Legacy. So there's quite a few. Quite a few, and you can see I've got quite a big Steam library, which is beyond silly. So then I go to all games, and what you can see in all your games is they've got this yellow icon. It means it is compatible with the Steam Deck, but there might be issues with it. Now that could be something like the in-game iconography displays keyboard, or incorrect controller input, something like that. Or you might need to use your in-game keyboard, which you can bring up with Steam and X, and that brings up a lovely keyboard. Generally in those cases, it doesn't actually mean anything's massively broken. And as an example, if we go all the way down, it's going to take a while because I've got a vast Steam library. There's been a lot of Humble bundles. Something like Zool Redimensioned, which came out just last year and is like a remake of Zool, that actually has not been tested and is said to be completely incompatible, but I was able to run it absolutely fine. The only issue with it was when I tapped the volume up top, it didn't really affect the in-game volume, which is obviously a bug, which I guess would have to be fixed for it to, get a proper certification. But if it's unsupported or it's got that question mark, that doesn't mean it won't run. It just means there may be issues with it. Of course, one of the big things with this is it's very easy to get to like a desktop mode and install other things on it. You can install GOG Galaxy and install other games and applications on there. It's not something I've done personally, but that's something I am thinking of doing in the future because I've got a big GOG library. But yeah, there you have it. That's sort of browsing the library. Let's take a look at how everything looks. So how do games run on it? Well, let's take a look, shall we? So this is Lair of the Clockwork God, which I mentioned that I've tried just the other day. Hopefully this kind of comes up all right. I wanted to try and capture footage directly from this, but I wasn't able to, but also I don't know how beneficial that would be. But this is how the game runs on there. You see, it's really, really nice. It's maybe not the best test of graphical prowess, but I thought it'd be cool to kind of just show off. Just it looks like how it would on the PC or any other system, which is yes and there. I can swap character. I really just kind of wanted to show this off because I thought it was a really neat little game, and to get it in front of more people would be quite cool. I mean, I've only just started it out, but I really like what I've seen so far. So the idea with this game is you play as Dan and Ben, one of which, Dan, wants to be a platforming game. Ben enjoys being a point and click, and what you do is you kind of control one doing platformy puzzles and the other one does point and click style puzzles. It's a really neat concept, and just initially the puzzles so far have been really, really fun. Nothing too difficult. Well, I've only done like the first level or two, so I should hope it wasn't difficult. Although it did take me a while to figure it out. But yeah, that's just kind of how this game looks on there. But then if I go back to my library, let's go quick game. Launch something else. See what we've got here. So launch Space Marine. So you can kind of see the entire boot up sequence. So when it starts up, you'll get this. This game will use the recommended template layout. You can change these layouts if you want. Things are generally quite customizable. It does all your usual, synchronizing with the cloud, checking for updates. And we got that. So we've got, because this is the anniversary edition, which I think they only just updated to last year. So yeah, that's this running. And as you can see, it looks and handles really, really well. And yes, I am one of them people who uses inverted y-axis. It's really hard to play this when you're looking behind a phone camera screen. See, I don't quite know what I'm not quite sure what graphical fidelity this is, but it doesn't really matter because it does look bloody fantastic. It's really impressive to see. And hopefully hopefully it's coming across for yourselves as well to see it. As I'm wasting like time just enjoying playing a game. But yeah, by and large, it's generally quite easy to set this up. I had no problems with this. Oh, not a problem now. Let's kill these orcs. Incidentally, if you enjoy watching me play games, I do streams on Twitch every Tuesday and Saturday. And we are starting to play Silent Hill 2 this week. Right, so we'll just hop back into here. So, the cons for it. So, yeah, cons, the initial one, it's bloody pricey. This was over £500 for this model. I think the entry level one is between $200 to $300, maybe starting about $250 to $300. It's pricey. There's no getting away from that. This was about 500 odd quid. It's not a cheap console. It's brilliant, but it's not cheap. The other thing is when games are a little bit incompatible or do have issues, it can be a faff. My main one I had issues with, funnily enough, and again, one of the reasons I actually really wanted this was to play Final Fantasy XIV on the go. So there were a few issues getting the launcher set up here. You can Google it and find out how to sort it quite easily, but there was some weirdness with it not wanting to look for the update, and you have to press enter rather than click on login. But beyond that, the game runs absolutely fine. The other game that I did have issues with, Nights into Dreams, I had issues with that because I had to go into the controller layout settings and swap it to gamepad rather than what its default was, where it was looking for like weird keyboard inputs. Oh, actually, that was the other problem with Final Fantasy XIV. When playing it in the controller mode, it seemed to get stuck for me in wanting to utilise the mouse. So I had to kind of come out of it twice. Like, I had to mess about in the menus a couple of times to get it to recognise the left analog stick as an actual analog stick rather than thinking it was a mouse. So, you know, with some of them, even though they are incompatible and do work, there's still a bit of faff in there. Sid Meier's Pirates, which I played a little bit of, that is incompatible with this. It does work, but it requires... The original game required you to use the numpad to navigate around, and it's a little bit fiddly. Let's put it that way. So, the games work. Just be aware that there might be a little bit of awkwardness in setting them up if they're classed as incompatible or not compatible, which I think you would go in expecting that. But generally, I absolutely love this. I'm very, very happy I got it. Part of the main reason I got this is because I do travel with my parents every few weeks. Sometimes I'm always looking for like a game to play, and I do enjoy playing games from my Steam library. Or if I'm out and about, say I have to go into work during my lunch break, I want to play a game from my Steam library, or just sitting on the couch. Sometimes I work from home, sometimes I don't necessarily want to be sat on my computer after I've finished working, so being able to put this on, you know, will just be a huge bonus. So yeah, that's the Steam Deck. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Let me know if you've got one yourself. I'm interested to know what other people think of it. Let me know if you're thinking of getting one, if you've got any additional questions or such. I just wanted to give like a quick overview of it, give off some of my thoughts, and yeah, that's it really. So, you know, as always, please do leave your likes, your comments and that on the video below. Go check me out on social media, or go give me a follow on Twitch. Like I say, we're going to be starting to play Silent Hill 2, so if you want to see me be scared out of my wits, you can see that. But until then, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch this. Super appreciate it, and I'll see you again in a future video. Goodbye.